Welcome back to the Practical Manager series from Practical Edge Training. In this lesson, we are talking about one of the hardest transitions many new managers face, moving from peer to manager. This transition can feel uncomfortable because the relationship changes. One day, you may be working side by side with your coworkers. You may be joking with them, venting with them, sharing opinions, and dealing with the same workplace frustrations. Then, after a promotion, you are suddenly responsible for leading them. Now, you may be assigning work, giving feedback, approving schedules, correcting performance, enforcing standards, and making decisions that affect the same people who used to be your peers. The key is this: relationships can stay positive, but responsibilities and boundaries must change. The peer to manager transition is difficult because the relationship often changes before everyone feels ready for it. Former peers may still see you as one of the team. Friends may expect special treatment. Employees may test boundaries. The team may watch closely to see whether you are going to be fair. And as the new manager, you may feel pressure to be liked instead of respected. That awkward feeling is normal. But the goal is not to avoid the transition. The goal is to handle it professionally. When you become a manager, you are no longer only part of the group. You now help lead the group. Before promotion, you may have shared the same frustrations as your coworkers. You focused mainly on your own work. You related to others mostly as a coworker. After promotion, your responsibility changes. Now you assign work and follow up. You give feedback and correction. You protect standards and team performance. This does not mean you are better than the team. It means you have accepted a different responsibility. You can still care about people, but you now have a responsibility to lead fairly. Boundaries are not arrogance. Boundaries are role clarity. Healthy boundaries help managers stay professional during difficult conversations. They help managers avoid joining gossip or negative talk. They help protect confidential information. They help managers make fair decisions without personal pressure. They also help managers lead with clarity instead of confusion. A simple rule is this: be approachable, but not careless with the role. You do not need to become cold or distant, but you do need to understand that your role has changed. Professional boundaries protect trust, fairness, and credibility. Favoritism can be real or perceived. Either way, it can damage trust. Sometimes favoritism is obvious. A manager gives easier assignments to a friend, gives better schedules, ignores poor performance, or shares information early. Other times, favoritism is more subtle. Maybe one employee has more casual access to the manager. Maybe the manager defends a friend too quickly. Maybe the manager avoids hard conversations with someone they were close to before the promotion. Maybe flexibility is given differently to different people. Even if you do not mean to show favoritism, the team may still experience it that way. Fairness is not only what you intend, fairness is also what the team experiences. A short, honest conversation can reduce confusion. You do not need to give a long speech or act like everything changed overnight, but it can help to acknowledge the transition clearly and professionally. You might say, I know this is a change for all of us. I value the relationships we have built, and I also understand that my responsibility is different now. My goal is to be fair, consistent, and supportive as we move forward. Use your own words, but do not avoid the conversation. Naming the transition helps the team understand your intent and your responsibility. It lets people know that you are not trying to become arrogant or distant, but you do understand that the role is different now. Friendship cannot become an excuse to lower the standard. When leading a friend, you still need to address missed expectations. You still need to give honest feedback. You still need to protect the same standard for everyone. You still need to handle issues privately and respectfully. And you still need to avoid special treatment. This can feel uncomfortable, but fairness requires consistency. Kind and firm can work together. For example, you might say, I value our relationship, but I also need to address this as your manager. The expectation is that everyone is ready to begin work on time. You have been late 3 times this week, and I need that corrected moving forward. Fair accountability protects the relationship, the team, and the standard. Let's look at a practical example. Maria was promoted from within her team. Before becoming manager, she was close with several coworkers. They often ate lunch together, joked around during slow periods, and talked openly about workplace frustrations. After the promotion, Maria wanted to stay close to everyone, so she tried to act like nothing changed. At first, the team liked that, but then problems started. One of Maria's friends began arriving late. Maria ignored it because she did not want to make things awkward. Another employee noticed and became frustrated because they had been corrected for being late the month before. Then, Maria gave her closest friend a preferred assignment. She did not mean anything by it, but the team saw it as favoritism. Maria's issue was not that she cared about her former peers. Her issue was avoiding role clarity. Good intentions do not replace fair and consistent management. Professional respect is the better path. New managers sometimes fall into one of two extremes. The first extreme is being too close. This happens when a manager avoids accountability because they want to stay liked. The second extreme is being too distant. This happens when a manager acts harsh or cold to prove authority. Neither extreme is healthy. The better approach is professional respect. Professional respect means you are approachable, fair, professional, and consistent. It means you care about people, but you also protect the standard. It means you listen, but you do not gossip. It means you are kind, but not careless with boundaries. There are several common traps during the peer manager transition. One mistake is trying too hard to be liked. Another is avoiding accountability with former friends. Some new managers share too much information because they are still acting like a peer instead of a manager. Others join negative conversations that weaken their own credibility. Some overcorrect by becoming distant or harsh, and some assume everyone understands the role change without ever communicating it. These mistakes are common, but they can be corrected. The goal is not to prove authority. The goal is to earn credibility. This week, identify where clearer boundaries may be needed. Write down relationships that may need clearer boundaries. Think about where favoritism could be perceived. Identify conversations or behaviors you need to avoid as a manager. Clarify expectations you may need to communicate more clearly. Then choose one action you can take to lead fairly. This may mean having a brief conversation with the team. It may mean changing how you spend your time. It may mean being more consistent with expectations. The goal is not to separate yourself from people. The goal is to lead them well. Take a moment to be honest about where this transition may feel difficult. What relationships have changed because of my role? Am I trying too hard to remain one of the team? Where could favoritism be perceived? Am I avoiding a hard conversation because of a friendship? How can I be professional without becoming distant? Choose one question that applies most directly to your situation. Reflection helps managers lead the transition instead of reacting to it. Moving from peer to manager requires intentional leadership. You can still care about people, but your responsibility as a manager requires fairness, boundaries, and consistency. This transition may feel awkward. It may create tension. It may test relationships. But if you handle it with humility, fairness, and consistency, you can earn trust over time. You do not have to become cold or distant to be respected. But you also cannot ignore your responsibility just because you want to be liked. In the next lesson, we will talk about one of the most important skills every manager must develop: communicating expectations clearly.